Welcome to this week's video. My name's Carl Gosling, as I'm sure some of you already know. Today we're going to be setting up, installing and reviewing the GT Omega Apex steering wheel stand. Now this is their, I suppose they want to call it their top of the range wheel stand, because they do one that's a little bit cheaper, which is their wheel stand classic, and it doesn't look quite as sturdy as what this one does. This one is very similar in design to the Next Level Racing, probably their middle of the range wheel stand, because they do a cheaper one. They do the one that looks just like this one, and then they do their new direct drive wheel stand, which I've got one of coming for review as well, so look out for that in the coming weeks. But yeah, this GT Omega Apex stand, it looks very similar to the Next Level Racing wheel. I think they just call it wheel stand, so makes it a bit confusing. But yeah, the Next Level Racing one, the Apex, they look very, very similar in design. And this is, I think it's about £150. The Next Level Racing one is a little bit more. I haven't had one of those to compare, but I am getting their direct drive wheel stand in. But today we're looking at this. I'm going to get it assembled, show you what comes in the box, then get the trusty Logitech setup on there, take it for a spin in Dirt Rally as always, so you guys can see what sort of flex we get, whether there's any wobble, how stable it is, and how comfortable and and easy it looks to use, from an outsider's point of view with me sat in the seat. So let's get into that. I'm gonna get down there and show you what we've got and how to put it together. So what I've done is taken everything out of the box, just so we can have a quick look at what we've got. And it's pretty heavy as a package, actually. The box, I think, weighs 16 or 17 kilos with everything in. So already it feels pretty weighty and pretty sturdy, which is always a good sign. So to my left here, we've got, as you can see, the main Apex wheel stand itself. We've then got the wheel deck, where you'll bolt your steering wheel to. We've got the two parts of the shifter mount. This will fit either left or right-hand side, and then presumably this will bolt something like that. It looks pretty simple, to be fair. We've then just got, that's really the only big parts you've got to install. We've then got a bag of screws, a spanner, an Allen key, some nuts and bolts. So looks like all the tools are included for the build as well. We've got another bag here with lots of nuts and bolts, a couple more Allen keys, and another open-ended spanner. So again, you're not going to need any of your own tools. A bag with 4 feet in, some GT Omega stickers, should you want to adorn your rig with those. And then something us as all men like to ignore, the instructions. But I'm not going to ignore them. I'm actually going to use them just in case there's something I miss, because I'm going to video me assembling this, which is something I don't normally do because it can be a bit boring. But I'll speed it up so you don't have to watch me do it. I'll tell you how long it took. And if I encounter any issues along the way, then I'll run it at normal speed and explain what issues I've got. So, I'm gonna throw it together. See you in a sec. And that is that. That was pretty easy, to be fair, and I mean it really should be, because it's only a wheel stand, there's not a whole lot to it. Now it looks like we come with a couple of spare thumb screws, unless I'm yet to see where they go, but I don't think I am. Where we're at now, we just got to bolt the steering wheel, the shifter and the pedals on, and that's pretty much that. So I think these are spare. We've got some cable management Velcro straps, nice little touch, and we have a spare plastic end cap, or it's more like a bushing actually, that goes over the top here. And what these do is to stop too much movement in this section here. So it's nice they're there, and it's nice we've got a spare one, just in case you lose it, damage it, whatever else happens. We've got a spare bolt and nut for the wheel deck, which is nice. Again, just a couple of little extra bits goes a long way. You know, should you be chopping and changing wheels, pedals, taking the thing apart, putting it back together, you might lose something, you might cross thread something, so having a couple of spares, that's a nice touch. It doesn't cost much and it's good to have them in the bag. What else we've got left here? Looks like a load of bolts and washers and nuts for bolting the various peripherals on. So we'll make use of those in a minute. So what I'm going to do now is take on a little close-up walk around of it, then I'll fit a Logitech setup and then we'll go for a little spin. So let me come over there, grab the camera and we'll have a closer look. So let's have a little closer look at this. Let's start at the top, work our way down. Here is our wheel deck. You can see the range of adjustment here, up and down, so that's a reasonable amount. Just a little bit out of focus. Yeah, it might be. Let me just see if I can focus in a little bit more for you guys. There we go, that's better. Let's lock that. Right, professional. So yeah, there's our adjustment. The plate itself is 2 mil thick, I'm going to say. So it's reasonably rigid. It's the sort of thickness you would expect of sim racing gear at this price point. It's pre-drilled for your Fanatic, your Logitech, your Thrustmaster. In fact, if I just grab the instructions here, it shows you, I noticed this a minute ago, on the back here, yeah, let's have a look. It actually shows you, if we can get that to focus, various, so Thrustmaster and Magcat, Thrustmaster THAA, Thrustmaster T3PA, Logitech, Fanatic. It shows you which, yeah, sorry, this isn't really focusing. Oh, there we go, perfect. It shows you which bolt holes you actually need to use to mount these most common peripherals. So that's quite a nice little touch as well. But yeah, so there's your wheel deck. It feels pretty solid. This isn't serrated, this adjuster here, which means potentially, depending on how hard you're yanking on your steering wheel, it may be able to move up and down, you know, even with this done up as tight as you possibly can without threading it off. But we'll see. I mean, again, how hard are you going to be pulling up and down realistically? This is a wheel stand after all. It's not designed for direct drive wheels. So it probably won't be an issue, but just thought I'd point it out. The overall build quality feels solid. The welds are good. The thickness of the framework is decent, and like I said, with these collars, that's probably a better description for these here, it stops any sort of play this way, so that's a nice touch as well. So your height adjustment is by undoing these, and you then would slide it in and out, which will also move your wheel deck closer to you or further away from you, you know, as it goes in and out, because it's at an angle. So what else we got? Come down here, so you've got this slot here that will allow you to adjust. I don't know if I can do this one-handed, but it will allow you to adjust. No, I can't. If I was to grab that leg and pull it backwards, it will slot through there, and that will allow you to adjust the angle a little bit there as well. The pedal deck I can show you one-handed, and also you'll see we've got, see, I referred to them as serrations when I was saying we didn't have them, but you could call them serrations. Basically, they're for these to go up, slot into, and then you lock it in place. Now that's a nice touch, because what you know, when you're using your feet pressing down on pedals, especially the Logitech G920 brake pedals quite hard, or some of the higher end ones, these little cutouts, these serrations that the bolts will sit into, there's no way the pedal deck can push down, you know, and overcome the sort of the friction you're applying by doing that up, which is what I was slightly concerned about up here. There are no serrations, there's no teeth as such, so it's just about how tight that can be there. But we're definitely not going to have that issue with the pedal deck, so that's really good. The feet, I mentioned it when I put it together, but I don't know whether I'm going to have the audio on for that. The feet are made of rubber, so you could use this on a laminate floor or a tile floor or a concrete floor. It's going to be pretty grippy, so that's a nice touch as well. Someone's thought about that. It looks like we have lots of, you know, range of adjustment here for your different pedals. There's a good, well, they're probably 6 inches per slotted section. So lots of forwards and backwards adjustment there. The overall rigidity as it sits here is pretty good. Yeah, pretty solid. So, and I've had their wheel stand classic, and I've still got access to it. I gave it to a friend. So this feels more rigid than what the wheel stand classic does, and it is a little bit more money. So you know, for that extra money, it looks like you're getting some nice extra features. So let's just have a little goosey at the shifter mount. The shifter mount, from memory, is pretty much the same as the one on the wheel stand classic. So it's pretty rigid. You know, I mean, you can see I'm giving it a good wobble here, and we're not really moving. Again, pre-drilled for all your usual shifters. What I actually did when I put this together, it's just a typical bloke thing to do when not properly reading the instructions. I actually put this on that way round. So these two bolt holes here were pointing up at an angle, and I come over with this plate and went, what the fuck am I supposed to be doing here? And then realised what I'd done. So that was quite a comical thing to happen while setting it up. But yes, it feels solid. You know, I'm trying to twist it side to side and I can't. I'm trying to twist it up and down, I can't. A little bit of up and down from the very end here, which of course is maximum leverage. There's an airplane flying overhead right now, in case you guys can hear that on my mic. But yeah, that feels solid. The whole thing feels pretty solid. We'll see how well this does once I've got the steering wheel attached to it. I almost forgot what it was called. Wheel deck looks good, like the adjustment, like the way it locks into those serrations or cutouts there. That's definitely going to be a plus. I like the rubberized feet. So far so good. Let's get the Logitech stuff installed on there. I won't show you how to do that because, well, everyone knows how to do that. It's pretty easy. You just set it on and put your bolts through the pre-drilled hole. So let's get it on there and get it set up in Dirt Rally and go for a little spin. Okay, everything's set up. The Logitech G920 is installed. As I say, I'm not going to show you how to do that because it really is simple. Set it in place, put 2 bolts in the bottom, do your clamps up. Shifter's the same thing. Set it in place, do 2 bolts up, nip the thumb screws up, and the pedals you literally just set in place where you want on those adjusters. You can go like 1 back and 1 forward, then there's still that 6 inches of movement to adjust it up. Put your 4 or 6 screws in. Use the washers that come with it, otherwise you risk the heads pulling through those slots. And that's it, they're done. So it's quick and easy. You know, you can all manage that, I'm sure. So, what else do we need to say about let's just say one thing about wheel stands. With wheel stands, obviously you have to use your own chair. They don't come with a chair. And choosing your chair is really important because it really shouldn't be one with wheels on. Otherwise, when you press the brake pedal or the clutch pedal, you know, one of the firmer pedals, you're going to roll backwards. Yes, you could strap the chair to the frame, but there's no need to do that. Use a chair that doesn't have wheels on. And the other thing is, chairs that normally have wheels on are your office type chairs. They tend to swivel as well. And the last thing you need when you're trying to race is a chair that rotates or a chair that can slide backwards and forwards. So choose a chair that doesn't rotate and that doesn't have wheels on. If you absolutely must use a chair with wheels on because maybe you're in a small flat, you've got no space for another chair, get some of those carpet cups. They're like little round cups and they have small spikes on the bottom so that at least the wheels won't roll backwards. You just put them under the wheels and it digs into your carpet. They do work a treat if you absolutely must. You're still going to swivel, but at least you won't be sliding backwards under hard braking. Now again, this is another point with wheel stands and specifically with regards to heavy brake pedals. There's nothing stopping your chair from leaning back. We've all done this at school. We all got told off for swinging on our chairs at school. You can swing on your chair here when you're racing too. Even this Logitech G920 has a very heavy brake pedal to hit 100% if you haven't calibrated it short. If you don't know what I mean, check out my video on setting up the brake pedal properly. You brake hard, you're going to lift the chair. There's nothing you can do about it. It isn't the wheel stand's problem. It's just physics. You know, you're pushing back on the upper part of the chair and you're basically trying to straighten your leg out. You're going to tip backwards. So that is just the thing with wheel stands. There's nothing you can do about it if you plan on using it, you know, as it is without strapping a chair to it, in which case you might as well have bought a foldable cockpit or a full-size rig. So just something to bear in mind, depending on what pedals you choose. What else do we need to say? Oh, speaking about full-size cockpits, you can buy a rear attachment for this from GT Omega that turns it into a full-size static cockpit, which would eliminate this chair issue. The other thing that, with wheel stands is that you have to find that sweet spot with your chair every single time. The chair doesn't stay where you left it because you're taking it away. So they do a rear extension, which makes it into a full rig. That looks pretty sweet. I haven't got one, but it simply bolts on and it's going to eliminate any issues with using, one of these sort of chairs. You'll be able to use a proper, can you see it in the background? Yeah, like that RS6 seat there. You'll be able to use a proper racing seat if you want to do that. So at a later date, if you're enjoying your racing, if maybe this is your way of testing the water, grab one of these, see how you get on, and then if you decide you want to go a bit bigger and better, you can just add the rear section afterwards. It also spaces out your spending a little bit. But first impressions, it's pretty solid. If I try and move it left to right, look, I'm moving more than what this is. That's really good. Up and down movement, there is a little more. Now, this is the other thing. If I pull back on this, I can lift it off of the ground, a bit like I can do with my chair. Nothing to do with the wheel stand, no point in wheel stand, it's just physics. If I pull it back, I'm going to lift it up. It's as simple as that. But you don't pull back on a steering wheel when you're racing as a rule. So, it shouldn't be an issue when we're actually in game. But yeah, it's reasonably wide, which gives it stability, and it's quite deep in the sort of configuration I've got it, which also gives stability. So feeling pretty good. And now with a wheel stand, you're always going to have some flex, some movement. It's just the way they are. And I would say this, compared to their cheaper wheel stand classic, this is definitely more solid, I would say, and more rigid with a bit less flex. So that's good so far. Shifter mount. I mean, yeah, we're not really getting any movement there either. If I really yank on it, we can see a little bit of wobble, maybe, but nothing unexpected. Again, it is a wheel stand, and I won't be shifting that hard when I'm racing. That was just to demonstrate. So looks and feels pretty solid so far. I've got it set up how I want it to be with this chair. I mean, office chairs are never the best for racing in anyway, or race cars would all have office chairs in with seat belts on, wouldn't they? And they don't. So yeah, we're looking pretty good so far. Someone asked me in the comments when I put up a picture of this having arrived in its box, does it fold away? Something I need to mention that I missed when taking the first sort of footage of this. I did up these two bolts here tight without realising that it's designed to be always in this sort of fully leg spread position, so to speak. I realised this because the feet are flat on the floor in this position, and if you actually close it up to raise the height, as I described it earlier in the video, the feet don't sit on the floor, and that made me look at it more. And I realised on the back of these, or in fact we can look on the other side, on the back of those bolts are nylock nuts. Now, nylock nuts are used in scenarios where things vibrate and can come loose, or if you want the nut to sit in one position but without being fully tightened. Because I fully tightened both of these, the other one's just in there, and of course that prevents it from folding up. Now, if you leave those loose, like I've done now, and I imagine how it's supposed to be, then you can fold it up. So all you would do is slacken off. It's got really sunny, so hopefully you can still see this, it's not overexposed. You slacken off the thumb screw. Let's go around the other side. In actual fact, it might be easier to see. Yeah, way easier. You slacken off this thumb screw here, and then you should be able to just fold the whole thing up. So let me stick this back on the tripod, and then I'll show you how to do that. Yeah, so as I say, you leave these bolts here, so the nylock nuts, you nip them up and then just back them off half a turn, or you can leave them how they came in the first place, which is probably exactly where they need to be. Now, what this means is, once you've undone your thumb screws for your pedal deck, wherever that might be, you can now just fold the whole thing up. And I think we do it by grabbing the top, yeah, and that swings up like this to there, and then you can bring this up as well, and the whole thing folds together in this position. Of course, you can do your thumb screws up and it will stay like it now as well. So it does fold away, in spite of what I say at some point in the video. I might put this in before, I might put it in after, depending where I think it should go. But yes, it does fold away into a very slim package, in fact, which you can see from that angle there. So yeah, it is a fold away cockpit wheel stand. If you're looking for a fold away wheel stand, it's a good one. Right, back to the video. Also, speaking about other GT Omega products, if you want this, or the Wheel Stand Classic, or any other GT Omega products, use my discount code KG5 and you'll get yourselves a discount there on any of the GT Omega products. I'll put a link in the description below to their website. It helps the channel, I get a small commission for it. Now that doesn't mean these are biased reviews, they're not going to be biased reviews. Those of you that watch my videos know how I am. If it's crap, I'll tell you it's crap. If it's good, I'll tell you it's good. So yeah, KG5 is my discount. There's links in the description. There'll also be eBay links and Amazon links should you be wanting to look for a second-hand one, because they've been out a little while, so those will be available. And also maybe you're someone that's impatient and you want the Amazon Prime next day delivery, you can go buy it from Amazon. Obviously you won't get my discount, but the link will be there if you're one of those impatient people like myself that just wants everything instantly. So yeah, links for everything. Anyway, nothing else I need to say now apart from let's have a little drive and see how it bears up. The camera's set up to the side there, so keep an eye out for flex and wobble. That's what we're looking for here. There will be some, it's a wheel stand. Also, my carpet's quite thick, so I can actually see it squishing into my carpet a little bit more as I try and move it. So should you be on a laminate floor or a concrete floor, it will be a little more solid even than what you see in this video. Now, we're in Dirt Rally. Oh, let me just turn the volume down. Super smooth that was. Yeah, we're in Dirt Rally. The reason I use Dirt Rally, not only is rallying my favourite type of sim racing, but it gives your hardware a good workout because you're steering aggressively, counter steering, handbrake turns, you know, sliding round corners, aggressive gear changes. Not the sort of thing you do on circuit-based racing. Now I can't hear my co-driver, so this might be the world's worst rally stage. We shall just see. Because I don't know the track that well. In fact, these days, I get so little time to bloody race, what with making videos, reviewing hardware, setting stuff up, taking stuff apart, and also I'm into my VR, as some of you guys know, so that's taking up some time as well. And it's summertime, which means I'm outside. Oh, I'm outside enjoying the weather. Oh, nasty. So we had a tiny little bit of my seat lifting up there because I pressed the brake pedal really hard. Again, not a problem with the wheel stand, it's the nature of using wheel stands with chairs that obviously aren't bolted to the ground. But let's get back to this wheel stand. I can't really feel any flex. There's a tiny little bit of up and down wobble, but again, my carpet is allowing that sort of movement, so that's not going to help. Steering wheel feels solid in position. The shift is fine. I've got no noticeable sort of movement there. The pedal deck, I mean, I can't feel anything at all there. I mean, these aren't the heaviest of pedals, but the brake pedal is, so that's a good test. Yeah, I'm going to say it feels, oh shit, wrong way. I'm going to say it feels pretty good. Oh, unlike my driving. I wouldn't have any trouble recommending this if a wheel stand is what you need. And again, you do need to be looking specifically for a wheel stand. I wouldn't recommend a wheel stand over a foldable cockpit, because a foldable cockpit gives you a seat that's fixed to your wheel and pedals as well. So if you've got the space for a foldable cockpit and the budget for a foldable cockpit, I'd recommend one of those. But if you're in the market for a wheel stand, then I would have no trouble recommending this. 150 quid, direct from GT Omega, or you know, with a discount if you use my code. It's solid, we're not getting any wobbles, we're not getting any rattles. I don't know where the hell I'm going because I'm talking, so let's just leave that there. I think you've seen enough. Yeah, I'm not noticing any wobble whilst I race, any noticeable flex. in the steering wheel deck or the pedal deck or the shifter. You know, there will be some because it's a wheel stand, but I can't really feel it. The build quality is good. It feels heavy, just shy of, I think, 17 kilos, and again, more with everything attached to it. You've got plenty of adjustment in both where your pedals go, the steering wheel angle. When you actually see this, how far you can move it, you can almost point the steering wheel like down at your stomach. So there's quite a bit of adjustment there. When you undo these and move this in and out, there's a huge amount of adjustment there as well. The shifter, of course, comes with the steering wheel when you adjust them in and out. There is one. You can't. There's no individual adjustment for the shifter there. But yeah, so if you're after a wheel stand, you know, around your budget's 150 quid ish, I can recommend this. I've got no issues with it, no obvious problems. I'm not really seeing any negatives. The shifter mount can fit on either side. I don't see using any of the belt-driven wheels on this to be a problem. I don't see any issue using Fanatic pedals or something a bit heavier as well than what I've got here, because the wheel deck is really solid and doesn't move at all. Yeah, it's odd not to find anything negative to say, but it's a wheel stand and it does exactly what it says on the tin. Yeah, if any of you guys can think of a negative that I haven't noticed, put it in the comments, please, because it's good for me and everyone else to know. But in the testing I've done, and it was easy to assemble. The instructions were clear. There's a few spare parts come with it, all the nuts and bolts and washers that you need, all the tools you need. Yeah, it's a decent product. So yeah, if you want one, link to the description below. My discount code's KG5. Thanks to GT Omega. GT Omega did send me this, by the way, for review. So that was very kind of them, and hopefully I'll be doing more with them in the future. I know a few of you have asked about their Titan cockpit, so maybe we'll get one of those down the line when things are back in stock. But as I said a minute ago, in spite of this being sent over to me for free, the review will still be always as honest and accurate as I can be. So if I say I can't find any negatives with it, I can't find any negatives with it. That doesn't mean there aren't negatives with wheel stands in general, like being able to push your chair back. That's a big negative about having a wheel stand. But it's nothing to do with the individual wheel stand, it's because you're using a chair that's just sat behind it. So yeah, I hope that's helpful to some of you guys out there. As always, thanks for watching. I gained another patron this week, so guys, I do appreciate that. It's very kind of you for your ongoing support. Also, thanks to those of you that donate to the channel. Every little bit helps, Once things really start to get rolling and there's some actual measurable money coming in, then I'll be able to invest in extra products for review and to try out, on top of the few sort of freebies that I'm getting at the moment. But yeah, so that is all really appreciated. So I hope you all have a good weekend. Any questions, whack them in the description. Any comments, anything you think I might have missed, whack it all in the description. No one's perfect. We all miss things. We all make mistakes. But have a great weekend, and I'll see you all soon. As always, take it easy.